John Samuelsen recently did a video on AMFA, and I want to speak to exactly a couple of things that were brought out in that video. First, John's discussion on how AMFA is rating us. And the fact of the matter is that their national director, Brett, came to myself, Gary Scheibel, and two members of the IBT a couple years back and begged for us to give AMFA a chance, talking about how they needed support of other unions, how they needed us to help them with their contract at Southwest, how they did no longer want to be perceived as a union or an organization, rather, that raids other unions. And we gave Brett that chance. Just last year, Local 591 and TWU International sponsored the Aviation Summit in Washington, D.C. At that summit, AMFA was invited, the IBT was invited, and we were the host for that summit. During the summit, we all discussed the issues that are happening in the airline industry with regard to aircraft maintenance. What I thought was a really good presentation ended that day with us finding out that AMFA was filing cards on IBT over at Horizon Airlines. That destroyed the relationship between the IBT and AMFA once again. This is before the raid on American was pronounced. The IBT and myself with TWU International had a discussion. We went back to Brett once again and asked if he was interested in continuing the labor coalition that he begged us for. At that time, he said he wasn't sure. He didn't have the authority to continue that type of conversation, and he would go back to his board. I find it highly ironic that Brett hasn't signed anything. Brett hasn't said anything. Brett hasn't once come forward and accepted the fact that he shook hands with myself and representatives of the IBT and agreed to not raid us, and yet he went back to his board and they are raiding us. If they want to fight, we'll give them a fight. I'll challenge anybody to a debate on our contract and what we did in negotiations and how that contract came together. Any day, anywhere, anytime, any audience. All I ask for is that we have a neutral moderator. So I'm challenging anybody from AMFA to put up or shut up, because I'm tired of hearing the backlash about how AMFA's going to do this and AMFA's going to do that. AMFA promises things they can't deliver to our members, or their organizers do. And I myself have always listened to those organizers and tried to help make the changes that they thought were necessary or important for us to improve as an organization. One of which has been recall. I think our recall processes, specifically in Local 591, are as transparent as you will find. And yet, I challenge you to read AMFA's Constitution and find how they recall people. They do within their local. But look at how difficult it is to recall one of their international officers. They make it sound like somebody files a petition and there's a recall underway. That's absolutely not true. In fact, most don't know this either, that they just currently ran an election and that there will be nobody from American Airlines if they were able to win a representation election if they had enough cards. And they were successful in that, because they just elected their national officers under their constitution and their process by a vote of their membership of 26.1%. By the way, our international representatives, which I am now a part of and I'll stand in front of, are elected at the National Convention by those individuals that you elect to attend the convention on your behalf under our Constitution. And those individuals who are elected then represent either on the executive board level, on the IEC, the committee level, or on the IAC, the international executive level of the top 5 officers. So again, when AMFA tells you, or their organizers rather, tell you what they want you to hear, I challenge you to ask them what they are doing and how are they going to make these changes. The question is, how would they do it? Because there's a lot of stories out there about what AMFA would have done and how they would have done this or that. And the fact of the matter is they're full of you-know-what.